Welcome, everyone, to today's episode. I'm very excited to get to share the next story with you. Today, we have Chung Tan with us, and I am so excited because I feel like we've known each other for like 15 years, and yet I don't know that we know each other that well. You know what I mean? Like it's always networking and like passing two ships passing in the night. So
Yes.
I'm really excited about this conversation. Chung, why don't you introduce yourself to everyone listening?
Yes. So, hello, I am Chung Tan, and you are right. I have been in Fayetteville like 16 years now. And the whole time I was the economic developer trying to bring businesses to Fayetteville, helping supporting our existing businesses that are in town and also our Fayetteville residents who are interested to become an entrepreneur. That is where we would jump in and then say, how can we help? And I enjoy my work. Every day is different. And I love, to get to know the people and the business that are in Fayetteville.
Well, that is fantastic. So we have you to thank for the fact that not everything has gone north of us. We do have a thriving business community. So take us back to the beginning. Like, tell us, where did your career start, and did you have any idea that it would lead you to where you are today?
Yes. So actually, way back then, I was working for the states of Arkansas and Georgia marketing office in Malaysia. So
Oh,
our job, yes. So our job is that when Arkansas or Georgia companies come to Southeast Asia, then we will be their boots on the ground to help facilitate, set up appointments, book logistics, and then take them to the meetings. We would do qualifying appointments before we set them up. So to make sure that there is a good match for their meetings to make it all worthwhile. And then there came an opportunity for me and for my family and I to move back to the United States. And then we were so thankful that we got a call from a friend of ours, and they say, "Hey, you know what? Fayetteville Chamber is looking for an economic developer. Why don't you apply?" And then so
wow.
because that will be an easier way. If you have a job offer, it'd be an easier way to come back.
For
So
sure.
we first did a stop in LA first for 2 years after moving back from Malaysia. And then after that, then came this lead, and then we follow up on it. And then I applied, Steve hired me, and then that was the start of
Wow.
my journey here.
Wow, that's fantastic. So 16 years. That means you landed here about 2010. That was we were definitely needing some economic development. Those were probably some wild days, right?
Yes. So 10 years at the chamber, 6 years with the city. So the 10 years is, then the chamber got a contract with the city. And so we have to design and implement and then, put up a strategic plan for all of it. And then we did that. And then we did that to, yeah, and this is actually how one of the big takeaways is our business license registry. So way back
Mm,
then, Fayetteville doesn't even have a business license
mm-hmm.
program. And then it was very challenging for the police, the fire to know like who are the residents or businesses, let's say in the multi-story building. We do
Oh,
not know.
wow.
And if there is an emergency, how do we contact the owner? We do not know. And so that's how we work on the registry. This and so everybody have to apply for it, and then so now we are able to say, this business ABC is located at this location. This is the owner. This is the emergency phone number. So it's really helpful for us. That's number one for our fire and police. And the city to know, kind of like we didn't even know how many businesses are there in Fayetteville. So now I can tell you we have 4,000. We have
Okay.
4,000 active business license in the city of Fayetteville. And then after that, it's like the composition. What type of businesses do we have and how much? So I can tell you now is like 11% of our businesses are actually in the manufacturing sector.
Wow.
And yes. So, and then after that, then we are able to kind of like say, all right, if we are going to prioritize, so now the city of Fayetteville has different sectors priorities. Just to name a few, healthcare is one, advanced manufacturing is another one, research and development is another one because of our university.
Mm-hmm.
So with all this, we're able to identify, do we have enough businesses? Do we have all the businesses that we need within that cluster? who else do we need to bring in to make it a system, a network, so that we all can support each other. So
That's so
yep.
cool. I love learning about people's jobs because I just am like, you don't really think about, and maybe some of I know there are some policy nerds that'll be listening to this that are like, of course we think about that because this is how it works. But it's very cool to be able to help, identify gaps in what we need and services that we need and be able to then begin recruiting businesses in that area. I love that.
Exactly. So that's what we do on a day to day, and then we'd also do research. Yes, to kind of like have a match. So it's like, what kind. So what is the city of Fayetteville like? What is
Mhm.
we have 105,000 population. Who are there? What are there? What are their education level? And then, like for example, even let's say in professional services or in healthcare. So let's say in healthcare, we want to know like what are the workforce development programs that are out here in the region, in the state, that we could perhaps create like more nurses or more PTs and
Mhm.
speech therapists and whatever it may be, if this is going to be our target. So then we look at the schools, we look at graduation rate, we look at the university, what is our research and development status. So like we are very happy that Chancellor Robinson announced this last week, like the University of Arkansas spent over $500 million in research and development
Wow.
studies. Yeah, so then we get excited, like, okay, so what's going to come out of it?
Right.
How are we going to commercialize it? And then how are we going to build these companies into big companies?
I love that. Fayetteville in Northwest Arkansas has a way of kind of getting into your soul. What is it
Yes.
about this community that made you stay and really you probably could give us a great sales pitch since that's what your job is. So what is it about that got into your just heart and soul to keep you here for 16 years?
I would say that, it is in our DNA to help. This
Mm,
is very unique. For Northwest Arkansas, it's like I tell folks, even if they are a transplant, I am like, I don't care where you are. I don't care where you come from, Chicago, New York. We have all these folks, Austin. I say, you will bring your paradigm to our community. And then that is good because you challenge us. So
mhm,
you'll be like, this is how it gets done in Chicago or Austin. And why is it not done here? So we pick what is good. We pick what is good. And then we say, well, you know what? You have a point. That is something that we need to work on. But at the same time, we also kind of like infuse into you our own Fayetteville or Northwest Arkansas culture and paradigm. And then over a year or so, I tell them, I said, give yourself, I said, a year or so, consciously or unconsciously, I said, you will not be throwing trash on the floor. You will pick it up because not only will you take your trash home to put it in a trash can, but you may even pick up trash, from someone who have just thrown it away, and then you take it home, and then you will learn to sort out, especially in Fayetteville, you learn to sort out what kind of glass, what kind of plastics, And
that's
then what
right.
is wonderful about this, especially about this region, is that I always tell people, I say, all you need is to ask your question. You
Mm,
ask your question, and if the person knows the answer, they will give you the answer. And then they even go one step further. If they do not know the answer, they will try to find someone else who do, and then they
yeah,
will get back to you and say, you should talk to so and so. So I
yeah.
think it's because of all this, like us supporting each other,
Mhm,
that I believe contributes to the vibrancy of this region. Is because all of us then learn over time, we learn not to be afraid to ask.
mhm.
And then we learn that it is better when we share, when we collaborate, when we partner. So I
I
think that's
love
what
that.
works here.
I wanna tell a quick story. Years ago, I was visiting with a friend of mine. Her dad was into timber, and has generations that they had generational wealth and timber in South Arkansas, and so I was down visiting, and he said, I remember back in the '50s and '60s when old Sam Walton and JB Hunt and Don Tyson, they came down to Little Rock. We had a meeting down there, probably an economic development meeting is what we call it. And he said they pitched their businesses and we laughed at them. And we said, you hillbillies, you go on up back up to Northwest Arkansas, which is funny. JB Hunt's from Stuttgart. So they got laughed out of Little Rock. And the three of them came back home and were like, you know what? We're gonna have to do this ourselves. We're not gonna get anybody help. And I tell people, like when I was in Chicago pitching Northwest Arkansas recently, I was telling them, I'm like, you just don't understand. It created such a culture of
Mhm.
we're all in this together,
Yes.
and the tide really does rise all boats. And so they did things like Northwest Arkansas Council, which helps when you have 5 different cities and 2 different counties and all these jurisdictions, and they infuse this culture of like nobody's coming to save us. We all have to band together. We have to
Exactly.
work. And it's super interesting because, when you're not here, people have different opinions about Walmart. But when that entrepreneurial culture that we're going to take care of you. I had a friend that did a fintech incubator in an accelerator in Little Rock. He would bring his teams up here and say, You've never seen anything like it. They will help you. They will open their contact because in Little Rock and other places, your contacts are your currency. And in Northwest
Exactly.
Arkansas, we're like, yes, it's my currency. And if I share a contact with you, I've now made friends with both of you. When you guys do business, you both, like, I've made a deposit in both of y'all's banks, and then that's going to come back to me. It may not come right from you, but it will come back. Anyway, I absolutely love that. And I'm super excited that somebody very effective gets to tell that story every day.
It is very true. We have a lot. I think you would see the same thing here. The same. A lot of visitors come here and then say, "You guys are very different. You're very open and transparent and willing to share." And I was like, "What's wrong with that?"
Yeah, I know. It's not I don't think it's normal.
It
It's
must
not
be
normal.
not normal elsewhere.
So, tell us about a moment in your career. We're gonna transition to maybe, from high I don't we don't wanna just be the, cheerleading show here. We got real truth. This is women telling their story as well. And I would love to hear if there's been a moment in your career where something you said made you feel like you just didn't belong in this room, or how you showed up, or what advice would you give to younger women that have like had to navigate places that maybe aren't the normal culture of Northwest Arkansas, where it's maybe hard to be a woman in a room? Have you had that experience, and can you tell us about it?
I think, fortunately, I don't have those kind of experience a lot.
Good.
but but when we do, like a good examples would be this. A lot of times we are the connector. We
Hmm.
are the connector. We are the facilitator. And so we may be asked to put two groups together. So let's say create an event, and then this is you're trying to help this host to come, and then you're trying to invite your local community to show up. And then on the day of, and then you get your RSVP, you do your follow up, you do your invites, you thought that you got everything under good control. And then on the day of, the turn up is not as expected. And then so now you are like, how do I make the best? How do I make the best of that situation? It's not so much as like I don't feel like I belong, but it's more like I feel like, did I fail?
Mm.
It's like, did you dot all the I's? Did you cross all the T's? How are you gonna take care of it? You know?
Here's the cards we're dealt. Now we're gonna play
Yeah,
them.
the cards are out there. So now what do you do? So we have to quickly pivot. Yeah, we have to think about, what is the next best thing. And so how I try to overcome situations like this, and then you get better, because it is not a one time. I'm telling you this through our all
Sure.
the years. It's not a one time incident. It happened more than once. So we got to learn to be better and better. So the next time and the next time. So then we have to see, okay, how do we take advantage of the situation, like an embarrassing situation, and then make the best out of it. And then so what we did is that we quickly pivot into like more personal one-on-one. So you have 5 hosts and 5 people show up, 5
Yeah.
guests, when it's supposed to be 20 or 30. And
Right.
then you're like, oh wow, And then we turn it into a very intimate conversation that we can And then at the end of the day, we find that we actually learn more because
Mm,
when you have a group talking to a big group, it becomes a presentation.
mm,
So it becomes like, I'm feeding you information. This is what we do. This is what I'm trying to do. And I want to see how you can help me. Then now we turn it into an intimate one-on-one. I'm getting to know you, Angela, because you're only one of the 5 person who showed up. And then, so this is me, Chung, and then we ended up talking about family, golfing, and what's your interest? And then walk away with a personal connection instead of a group presentation.
I love
So
that.
but then the next time we're like, okay, we, where did we go wrong? So we do like a post evaluation meeting,
Mhm,
how to go over. So we learn to be better, yeah,
mm.
and always constantly improving. But we still sometimes, they will still give us a curveball.
I'm curious if some of the time you figure out that you were like, "Oh, that was the way it probably should have gone anyway," and maybe the next time we actually shouldn't schedule giant groups, we should schedule smaller segments so that people don't feel like they can escape. Anyway, that's a great lesson, actually. I love that.
Yes.
If you were to gonna sit down with somebody who's brand new in their career, especially a young woman in Fayetteville, what's something that you would tell her that her community has to offer her? What would you tell her?
I will be very excited to tell her to go for it.
Mm,
Yes, for me will be whatever you want. My mantra has always been, you can be what you want to be.
mm,
Anything. Yes, you can be what you want to be and anything. I told my daughters, I say, even if you want to be a surgeon, you want to be an astronaut, you can if you set your mind to it. But first, you must have that goal. So I
mm,
always start with, like if you are young, you're a fresh graduate, I would say, what do you love? What do you love to
mm,
do? What do you feel most at home or comfortable? Or what do you want to challenge yourself? And then you go for it. And then I also learned, I learned from someone else. They reminded me that nothing is permanent. So they're like, even you make, yeah. So they were like, even if you make a decision now to say, I want to be an accountant,
yeah,
and it's okay. Then so maybe after a few years, and you say, after I've tried being an accountant, it is not for me, and I want something else. Then you say, it's okay. You can change.
yeah,
So I'm sure Suzanne Clark, right?
mhm,
So Suzanne Clark has a degree. I think she's a chemical engineer by
okay,
training. Yeah. So she was like, doing all the engineering chemical stuff and for a while she was like on a national company and she was flying around like crazy and all that. And she was successful. And then don't know why all of a sudden she decided that she doesn't want it anymore and she wants to become a lawyer. She went back to school. And that's how Suzanne now is a lawyer. Isn't that crazy?
I didn't know she hadn't been a lawyer her whole career. That's
No,
amazing.
that's why this is the lesson I learned in my journey. Because sometimes, you felt like, oh, I'm supposed to build a career in it. So
Yeah,
I'm going to start here and I'm going to end here. And then that's where I learned. They said, no, nothing is permanent. You just go for it, try it. You don't like it. And then in the process, you learn. So what do you like?
yeah,
And then you pivot and then you go.
yeah,
And it's okay. And the fact that it's okay, because sometimes we are told, like, did we fail? I cannot
mm,
get it. I cannot be successful here. So now I got to try my luck there. So that could be
right.
one way of thinking, but we are telling people do not think that way. It's just that you're learning along the way and nothing is permanent and it is okay.
I love that so much. I am always fascinated by the different degrees that people have and the jobs that they end up in. And I think sometimes it is like what we have just a natural gifting for.
Mm.
And what was your degree in? Does your degree
Yeah,
set
that
up
would be so
this?
crazy. Yes. So yes, I'm a perfect example. My bachelor's degree, yes. My bachelor's degree is actually in biofood technology, FOOD. So
Oh,
biofood technology. So the idea is to train you to kind of like develop like new, maybe what you call processed food.
okay.
Yeah. So that's my first degree. My master's is actually in health services administration. So yes. So
You're supposed
that
to run
master's,
hospitals.
yes, to train me to become administrator. So not in medical. So how it kind of like evolved is because when after I did my bachelor's, and then I found out that I don't really want to work in those factories or the lab. And then I found out that actually I went into it because I like food. So I thought, well, then if that's the case, maybe I should be a registered dietitian. Then I
Okay.
went to kind of like go to Conway. Conway at the time was offering UCA, a track to go to become a registered dietitian. So I was like, maybe should go that route. But then it ended up that, the curriculum is not something that I like because it's like too much time and to get an RD. And then I got the opportunity for a master's to be also in food healthcare, but then
Yeah.
as an administrator. And I was like, why not? So I went for my master's, and then now I'm an economic developer. I'm a certified economic developer. So
I think this is hilarious because the way I chose my degree was that I had just had my baby and I went into my advisor's office and I said, how many credits do I need to graduate? And which one of these degrees can I get out of with a business degree? I don't even care. Just give me a business degree. And I ended up choosing marketing because I was like, well, I'll be selling something for the rest of my life, even if it's just selling myself in a job interview, right? And
yes,
so
yes.
here, like, I haphazardly pick marketing and then end up like my whole career has been in marketing.
See?
I
Right?
mean, first
Sometimes you plan
sales,
and yes, sometimes
right?
it didn't go according to plan, and sometimes you didn't plan, and that's where you
I
landed.
Well, and this was not what I imagined that I would be doing. And the marketing degree from the University of Arkansas, for the record, teaches you to do marketing for Walmart people. So anyway, I mean, maybe not 30 years ago, but anyway, I think that's fascinating. Okay, a couple more questions. What does work-life balance look like for you?
I tr- so for a while, this is something is still work in progress. So for a while, so like work life, right? So when I'm working, I felt like I'm neglecting my family. And then when I'm
Mhm.
spending time with my family, I worried about my work that I didn't complete. So I am not good on both, right? Neither here nor there. So now I'm tell myself that if I'm working, concentrate on working.
Mhm.
All right. And then set a time. So for me, I do set a time. So like, okay, this is the time that I'm going to concentrate on work. And then once I so-called clocked out,
Mhm.
I'm going to concentrate and be present for my family.
I love that.
And so yes. And then, but to be fair, now I have two little grandsons. So one is 5 years old. Yeah. And one is 18-month old. So when you are babysitting them, you have to
You
give your
have to be
full
present.
attention. You
Yes.
cannot work and watch the kids.
No.
So they actually kind of like have been helping me with that. It's like when I'm with and then usually then, with my kids' family, I mean, with my
Mhm.
kids as well.
Yeah.
So that's how we are now, like, when we're together, we
Mhm.
are more together.
Mm. I think that's funny because I think when my kids were that age, I felt like I could kind of work and be there, and I just had more capacity. And as a grandmother, I do love that I'm like, no, sorry, I like no, not enough brain capacity, and you also just figure out that it's so much more the time, it's so fast,
I
and
know.
I don't think I also say that preschool was the longest prison sentence I served, and so I didn't love the preschool years, but
Mm,
once they get to school, then it just
yes.
goes so fast, and so I love the grandparenting age of, like, really treasuring that time and really being able to just feel into that, so
Actually,
I share
it's
that.
it's very true. Yes, because when the children are yours, you are also trying to make a living.
Yes.
See, you're trying to make a living, and then when the children are that young, usually that means you are younger. So when
Yes.
you're younger, you don't make as much because that means
Yes.
that you're either entry level or just about mid
Yep.
level. You see
Yep.
what I'm saying?
Mhm.
But then now at the grandchildren level, they are not mine.
I don't
So
have
I
to
can
feed
always hand
them
them back.
and yes.
Yeah, I can hand them back, after a couple of hours. It's not like
Yeah.
24/7.
Yeah.
And then now I am at a better station of my career
Right.
where now it's like, I don't have to worry about paycheck to paycheck.
Right. Yeah.
So
It is a
so
whole
I
different
think
thing.
maybe that explains the difference in
Yeah.
a better time.
Yeah,
Yeah.
for sure.
As
Okay.
grandparents.
I do love being Love being a grandparent. I joke and say if I would have known that having adult children was this cool and having grandchildren, I might have had some more, but,
Have more.
to to your point, making ends meet and, paycheck to paycheck, well, that was about as
Yes,
much as we could do.
that's right. So
Yeah,
yes,
for
right?
sure.
Mm.
Okay, we got some rapid fire questions. So, the job you wanted when you were 10 years old.
I wanted to be a teacher.
Okay. Beach, mountains, city, or staycation?
Staycation. I'm actually
Yeah.
a homebody.
Uh, a bonus hits your account today. What's the first thing you do with it?
Check out traveling. Where can I go?
That was contradictory.
Hey, I'm telling you,
Describe.
my dream is to take my entire family, like on an extended vacation. But because it's
No.
just going to cost so much money, it's
Yeah,
still a dream.
yeah. There you go. Describe your work wardrobe in 3 words. Go.
I want it to be casual, smart, and professional looking.
There you go. The one goal that you have not told anyone about yet. Are you ready to share it out loud?
Retirement.
Oh, we're looking that way, huh?
Yes.
Ah, that's awesome. This has been amazing. Thank you so
Thank you.
much. It's super fun to get to know you better. And I look forward to hanging out with you on June 16th at
Yes.
the Women of All Generations. If you're listening to this podcast after June 16th, check out the the Chamber Fayetteville website to see when the next year is. Join us next time for the next story.